So will you call roll call, please, for the two boards?
Yes. Councilman Johnson?
Present.
Councilman Conley?
Present.
Councilwoman Arvanitis?
Here.
Councilman Schmidt?
Here.
Councilman Getzlaff?
Present.
Treasurer Mike Johnson here. Park Board Nicole Kelly? Here. And we got Brad Thatcher
Here.
and Tom Malinowski.
Here.
And you staff too.
We can, thank.
Director of Operations, Mr. Gorman? Director of Operations, Andy Hansen? Present. Town Manager, Jim Gorman?
Here.
Park Superintendent, John Novosich? Here. Irene, Park Department? Here. Next lady next to you. And Chris Bowling's here. Here. And we have, Josh? There you go. I think that's what we, Robbie Hansen.
Here.
And I think that's what we have here, President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chuck. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight on a summer night we're having. We'll have a discussion regarding redevelopment of the Ileana Speedway property. As you know, the town and the council with the park board, we're committed to bring recreation amenities to this property. We also had agreed to let the public have input on ideas for the land, and that's what we're here for tonight, is to get any input from the public. Notice that there's paper surveys at the recreation area, at the area, and there's also a couple computers there for you to enter your ideas and stuff. Jim Gorman, our town manager, will explain the procedures for tonight. Also, do remember that there is a line item on that survey that says other. So in case there's not something on there that you would like to see, we try to include almost all recreation things. And that's real important to us, is to actually maybe catch an idea that we did not catch. Please enter something in there if it's not on the list. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Mr. Hansen's going to run through the slides and show you this is the agenda we have tonight. And as Mr. Schmidt mentioned, there's a couple computers back there that has the survey. And all you got to do is type your name in. There's a choice of 32 amenities. Pick 10, hit submit, and the next person can go to that computer. It'll reset the page. So we'd prefer that method because all this gets entered into a program, and then it tallies up what the most popular amenities are. So help us. If you guys, one at a time during the meeting, just go up there. It won't take you more than a couple minutes. So here's the top of the page. When you get to those computers over there, it'll ask for your name, and then it shows all the amenities. Just click on the box to the left of the if it says softball, just click on the box next to it if that's what you'd like to see. And then the next page, we're going to leave this up so while other people are filling them out, these are the same amenities that you would be clicking on. So as Mr. Schmidt also mentioned, there's an other page. If you like something that's not on the list, just type that in, hit submit, and we'll move on. And also, we're going to open the meeting up to the floor. Like to limit your comments for 3 minutes. We'll start with the first row, go to the second row, third row, and please don't, if somebody asked about something, please don't repeat that. We'd like to just move on with and get everybody's ideas and get everybody up to the podium if they'd like to speak. Here for today. Yep. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
And Mr. Gorman, and remind them if for some reason you don't want to use the computer, we do have the hard copies back.
We do.
You could just fill out a piece of paper with your name on it. Same thing as what the computer is doing.
And just pick 10.
And Mr. President, if I could add too, just a reminder, this is a study session, so the council cannot make any votes tonight.
Yeah, we'd just like to hear from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. So I'll go ahead and start. We'd like to hear comments from the public, and we'll start in the first row. Anybody in the first row that would like to speak? Please state your name and address. Thanks.
Tom Anderson, 153 New Orleans. I've been a resident of Schererville almost 27 years, business owner over the last 40 years. I believe it's a good use, but I believe the area that fronts Route 30 should be business, commercial, so to generate some tax dollars. But otherwise, the other don't have any specifics. It should be a nice park, but I think you should use the front on Route 30 to generate tax revenue, to keep our taxes low.
Thank you. No, not all of it, no.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Andy went in the back. Something I did want to do before you spoke, if you could call up the picture of the land that we're talking about there, and the highlighted land is the land that we own right now. And actually, I think we might, do we own some of the?
Yeah, additionally, the 3 parcels to the west, we own those as well. They're marked as 25, 24, and 23.
Right, so that's the land that we presently own. There's also negotiations on some surrounding land around, but right now we're up, Mr. Gorman, about 60,
Yeah, just under 60.
60 acres, yes. So, anyone in the second row that'd like to speak?
Jeff, 2 Deer Trail Lane. First of all, I appreciate this opportunity. I think it's exciting and the opportunities that could be presented here for the Ileana Speedway, and that excites me and stuff. One thing I really like is to model after Crown Point Bulldog Park with a concert pavilion and a sheltered area that can be used for Schererville Fest, for lots of different things with a shelter and ice skating in the winter. But one thing I think is important is to put the concert pavilion on the south end of the property, so it faces 30, and there's just a farm on the other side of 30 so it disrupts as few residents as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the second row?
Roger Florkowitz, 1975 Christensen Lane. To kind of mirror what was just previously said, in addition to that, I think that something similar to that, having a Schererville-based facility that not only like Dog Park, which is kind of the sports and theme that way, but downtown Munster or downtown Valpo with a facility that has ice skating, a multi-purpose building, those type of things. I live right near Reeder Park, and we see a lot of events there, but Reeder Park, due to the parking congestion and things like that, there's a lot of things with grand plans that just are never able to be pulled off quite as well as they could be if we had a fixed bandstand, if we had that type of multi-use facility. I guess my second suggestion is auto racing would also be a great use for that area, but thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Forkowitz. In the second row. We're moving to the third row.
Hi, I'm Erica Hine, 5436 Victoria Place. I'm a Crown Town girl by birth, but I've been in Schererville about 22 years now, so I kind of echo the thoughts of the gentleman that spoke before me. Crown Point was able to take an old, well, it used to be like the bus garage, basically, the bus parking lot and Tasty Freeze, for those that are old enough to remember when the Tasty Freeze was there. Anyway, it does bring a lot of business to the town. It is in a location where it doesn't really disturb the residents, so I kind of understand the gentleman on Christensen Drive and Reeder Park does get very congested, so a multi-use like that, like Valpo, it does bring a lot of people to the downtown area. Kind of, you know, being a Crown Point native, I see we have a beautiful downtown area. Schererville, Maryville really doesn't have that downtown feel, so this might be one place to kind of pull all that together. Walking, all of that I think is a great idea, healthy for the population and the community at large, and try not to cut down a lot of trees. Like the trees, and like as Schererville grows and so many more subdivisions are coming on farmland parcels. I actually grew up on a dairy farm in Crown Point, and it's starting to encroach on my family farm, so keep the cows across the street, keep Jerry is there as long as he can, keep the trees, and, you know, give the wildlife a place to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? The third row, yes.
Right here, yeah. Hi, my name is Cindy Emont, and I live at 45 Capri Drive. Been in Schererville about 27 years as well. And I was pretty excited when I heard about this. I was at the other meeting where they were talking about ballparks. But I kind of feel, I use a lot of the facilities in Schererville. I use the walking trail. One thing that I think would be really nice to have that we don't have now is an indoor facility, kind of like Lincoln Center and Highland. In fact, I go there sometimes in the winter with my walking partner, and because the trail's pretty kept up, but the Pensy Trail, but in the winter it still can be pretty dicey. So I think people in the area walk, and it would just be nice to have a facility like that, maybe not as big as the Lincoln Center. They've got workout bikes there. They've got indoor basketball courts. They've got fitness rooms. It's really a nice facility. So something similar to that, maybe then also with an outdoor walking trail. We've got a bike trail that runs right past it, and it might be nice for people that are on their bikes to even stop there and use the facilities. And I was thinking too, it'd be pretty nice to have maybe a little coffee shop or a little cafe or something that some of the bikers could stop at, maybe part of the fitness center, maybe separate. Something also where maybe some of the local citizens can, you know, a lot of these coffee shops have like art on the walls and things like that, so maybe some of the local citizens or students can display art, a place where people could, you know, gather, maybe indoor, outdoor seating, place where the seniors can get together, park benches, trails, like, you know, the Arboretum, I think there's some wetlands there, some gardens, flowers, yeah. I think it could be done really nice, depending on how much land you actually end up with. And, you know, to have some areas for the handicapped, because there's not a lot of places here where someone who's handicapped can get, you know, they have to get there, but then they can, you know, maybe go down some of the trails and see some flowers and get out and meet other people, things like that. So maybe a sculpture garden. I mean, there's a lot of places that have a lot of different facilities. I think, you know, people can use their imagination to come up with all kinds of things. And, you know, the fitness center would rent some revenue from that, and maybe the coffee shop would some revenue to help maintain it. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe I'm still in the third row. Anyone else in the third row? How about the fourth row?
Gregory Gilbertson, 35 Schererville. Indiana has a deep heritage in auto racing. If you look at your driver's license, there's a little race car at the bottom. At least there is on mine. Indiana is relatively famous. I've read numerous articles, historical articles of Harry Molinar, Harley Davidson dealer, ultimately in hand, starting it as it progressed, etc. So I'd like to see some history, utilizing the circle track, or at least its footprint, which could easily be tied into the bike hiking trail just to the south, combination bicycle hiking trail. Something in the classic brass plaque, recognizing, like the roadside historical things, a little bit of history. Two other comments. When I was a township trustee back in beautiful Illinois, we did a 50-acre property and restored it as Illinois native prairie, professionally done. All native plants, food for the birds, the bees, with walking trails, etc. Little shelter kind of things along the trail. Residents love that, and it was kind of a neat natural use of the property. So food for thought there. Third, comments about a band shell and all of that I think are great, which could actually be done in the center of this way, although we got a lot of land. The one thing I really don't want to see on my end is strip malls. I think Portillo's pushed me over the edge, guys, but I hope that we'll all benefit from the sales tax income. But yeah, no strip malls. Meetings and meetings ago, the board discussed briefly a freestanding building, professional park, doctors, attorneys, et cetera, which up in the front by 30, not so bad, not a bad idea. All I know is this: 41 is full of business, 30 going the other way is full of business. This is about the only open stretch of readily available property, and I'd hate to see it end. So, thank you.
Thank you. Fourth row still?
Hi, Jen Wilson, 1534 Mockingbird Drive. I think a lot of us have similar ideas. I think I would just like to add, keeping in mind that we have a lot of cold weather in this area, long winters, and it would be nice to have at least a portion of it indoors where we can do inside activities, whether it be skiing or basketball or any of that. I'm not too picky about that, just where we can get together, be active. And I'd also like to see some either restaurants or coffee shops, or even a little pavilion or something where we can showcase local talents, whether it be culinary or poetry, theater, just so we could get a well-rounded facility. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fourth row still? Fifth row?
Hi guys, I'm Sarah Newell. I've lived in Schererville my whole life, so 40 plus years. So my ideas are a lot like some people have already said. I was in downtown Carmel recently. I don't know if anybody's been there, but it's a beautiful area, which kind of like Ben talked about, it has a little bit of everything. So it has restaurants and breweries on the bottom, retail in the middle, and then, I don't know, like a bar or something on the top. And then all in the middle is open space, so they can enclose it. It can be open, in nice weather. They have kids like soccer or lacrosse or something in the middle there. The bike trail around it, I think, is a great idea. I'm just going to say this because I'm going to steal the idea because Mr. Mike Hatt is not here. But, oh, he walked in, then I'm not going to steal his idea, but I just thought it was a really good one, so we'll wait for him. But But yeah, so anything that has, like Jen said, multi-use, number one, year-round is big and also can be used for different events, sports, across the board. And I don't think I said my address, 1509 Mockingbird. Thank you.
Thank you. Still fifth row?
Around 1770 Autumn Court in Dyer, Indiana. I've been coaching at Tri-Town for the past 8 years. I kind of with the field, we are kind of getting displaced, and I would like to see a sports complex maybe at the a sports complex maybe at the old racetrack, maybe an outdoor for the summertime and then an indoor for springtime, for the wintertime, like football and baseball, so they can practice throughout the wintertime, because it is costly to try to travel around and grab fundraising and for chair and just get everything kind of going on. And I think around here there's too many storefronts. You see a lot of businesses that are still trying to rent out places for 1 or 2 years that still been trying to rent out places that have been empty. And I mean, you're wasting money on it, in my opinion. But I think it should be used just strictly for sports and non-business purposes.
Thank you. Still fifth row? Fifth row? How about sixth row?
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Hatt. I live at 2915 Morningside Drive. Been a resident on and off for the better part of 40-some years. And, we got a lot of great activities going on in that space over there. And the sporting soccer and all of that's a great idea. I think a lot of that's already been used and is appreciated by a lot of the neighborhood and a lot of the Schererville people as a whole. But I also recognize that you want to build something, right? There's some kind of a structure. There's taxes you want to raise. Generate because of revenue that businesses could generate. And I guess my kind of win-all strategy would be to, one, make sure we get some kind of a pavilion. I think a lot of our community and Harvest Acres really would appreciate something like, doesn't have to be like Crown Point has per se, but something like that. But that would be in a corner of the section somewhere. I guess part two, let me also ask, is there a way that we can get some kind of an aerial map of what space is actually available to? I think there's a, oh, great.
Yeah, the maps are up.
Perfect. Well, that was the one thing I was trying to figure out for a little while now, so I would like to snap a shot of that before I leave. There's a couple things that I think we want to accomplish, right? We want to create a space for businesses to create revenue for the city here in Schererville town. But I think what would be neat to also have is to create a structure that on the first level would have some retail and some somewhere to go for some food and a little bit of retail, some other little shops. But let's call it a 5-story building right on the first level. The second, third, and fourth level could be office space. I think there's a lot of small businesses could be looking for a nice space to rent out, or even maybe floor 2 could be co-op space. There's a lot of small businesses in the area here. I'm one of them as well, healthforhomes.com, improving air quality in the city and around the country. But on the top level, I think would be neat to have some kind of like a sky lounge, right? Like a cigar bar. And then the top level could be like a lookout center that could also be rented out for parties or other wedding venues and things like that. But have a lookout area where you can actually see all the soccer fields and the baseball fields. That way you're incorporating all the fun that's going on the outside, But the big thing that I think we all want to do is memorialize the Ileana Speedway. So kind of my thought to that would be to actually have a track around the building where we can have some little fast go-karts. You know, something again for a lot of the teenagers to do, some other community to come and hang out. I think that would be a fun thing to do, which would absolutely memorialize the Speedway. But then also on the back side of the track, I think would be a neat thing to do because we would have some kind of a pavilion and other parties and different things going on. Maybe a car show at some point would be to design it so that we can have food trucks pull up. I think the food truck businesses are a big deal, and there's a lot of folks that seem to like food trucks. I'm one of them. I think a lot of you have all enjoyed the food trucks here in Schererville at the different parks. But I think at that point, you kind of got to win all, because we would still get our building, which we all want, and then we can also build a structure that has some retail, some office space, but then kind of a sky lounge up top, which I think a lot of the neighborhood would also appreciate. So I've probably got a few other things that I can come up with, but I'm probably at my time. So with a lot of breath, I ran here from baseball practice. So go Green Lightning. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hatt. Still in the fifth row or sixth row, maybe? I can't see that far back here.
Hi, my name's Nick Vevers. I live at 513 West 77th Court. I lived here about 5 years. Over the last 5 years, I've been involved with Tri-Town Raiders, Pop Warner football. I personally have two sons that are playing currently. And as you all know, Kennedy is extending, and it's going to be going right through our field, which is going to be leaving us homeless. So I would say that one of my biggest concerns is having for these kids to play. Currently, there are about 100 children that are involved with the organization, dozens of families. I've been on the board for about 4 years in different capacities. Currently, I am the vice president, so don't keep my commissioner sweatshirt. I'd like to see sports. I'd like to keep our town growing, but in a different direction. A lot of people would say is profitable. You can keep on building you can keep on building businesses and increasing revenue, but where is the value when it comes to our children? We need to give them somewhere that they can call a home away from home, develop skills, and I think serve them in the future. We want to be a beacon of Northwest Indiana. We want to bring families in. We don't want to scare them away. Part of the reason why we live in a town like Schererville is living in Chicago or even Hammond. There's too much business. It's too crowded. You keep on adding businesses. You're going to chase out a lot of good families that want the quiet, small town feel that Schererville has. So yeah, I use sports: football, baseball, softball, basketball. If you can include an indoor facility, fantastic. But grass is cheap, and we have plenty of grass there. It's not too hard to throw up a couple of fences and maybe put in a small park. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Still sixth row?
Good evening. My name is John Walter. I live at 1057 Poppy Field. I find all of the people who have spoken before me have good points about everything. I think that you're going to be faced with a hard decision on what to do with this property. What I would like to see you do is consider the whole town. Currently, we're going to be going through the redevelopment caused by the Kennedy Avenue extension, plus the downtown properties near the town hall are going to be redeveloped. I'd like to see an overall strategy. I'm a guy who likes to walk. Trails, I used to be a competitive race walker before I broke my foot. I would enjoy more trails. I would enjoy seeing a community garden. I would enjoy seeing an arboretum. But Again, I would like to see this whole development make sense in terms of the development of the whole town of Schererville, so that after I'm gone from here, people can say, this is still a great place to live. This is a great place to raise my kids, and this is a great place to enjoy life. I do not envy you this task. It's going to be a difficult one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walter. Still row 6. Anyone else row 6? Row 7. Anyone,
The bleacher seats.
anyone in the back? Anyone in the back row?
Hi, Matt Merzlock, 2903 Side. I have the pleasure of living 2 doors down from Mr. Hatt down there. While a lot of things he brought up might sound all good, but respectfully, I would like to not see any of that there. I'd like to keep it all green. I would like as much greenery as possible. And one thing that I haven't heard anyone bring up as of yet is how we're going to pay for all this. I do not want any more taxes. Okay? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Anyone else in the back that would like to speak? Or anyone else? Yes, step up, please.
Hello, my name is Matt Scarce, 1636 Hartley Drive. I am a father of 4 kids, ranging from high school to preschool. And there is, outside of taking my kids to the park here at the park, there's nothing for my kids to do. There is nothing for the youth, high school age, for them to be able to do in our community, down to the sports, our complexes. I have coached at multiple levels of youth sports, from football to baseball. We have travel volleyball in our family, everything. My entire life revolves around youth sports. And unfortunately, Schererville's town ballparks are not great. I have played at the best ballparks in the United States. And that area could facilitate an amazing sports complex that would generate a gross profit for the city. If you followed youth sports throughout the past 25 years, they build cities around youth sports parks. So I would consider you to, or like you to consider thinking about youth from our high school age all the way down to our little ones. Another idea could be a community pool, where similar to how Munster runs their community pool, being able to encourage Schererville citizens and Schererville residents to have a better rate than outside communities, so that we can encourage our youth to stay here versus necessarily everyone else coming into our area. Those would be my suggestions.
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak that I might have missed? Any comments from the council?
I'll just say I appreciate everybody coming out. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate the thoughtful suggestions. I agree with some, I disagree with others, of course, and it is like Mr. Walter said, it's going to be a tough decision. I applaud you, Mr. Walter, because I agree with you. I think one of the things that's somewhat lacking with our focus here is an overall strategy. How we're going to bring all of this together. How's the development of this going to tie into downtown redevelopment, Kennedy Avenue, of Reeder Park after this development occurs? What are we going to do with Tri-Town Raiders? All these things that are out there that are all kind of unknowns for the future, and developing that overall strategy, I think, is key. And that's why your guys' suggestions here today, at least specifically to Ileana, is going to help us to hopefully focus our planning, our strategy planning for what do we see at Ileana, what can we do with Reeder afterwards, what can we do with kind of the avenue to try and help that, how do we bring people down the trails, what kind of things are we going to do to bring this whole strategy together. So I appreciate everybody coming out.
I as well appreciate everybody coming. Usually when we have these types of study sessions, there's a lot of chatter on social media, and I didn't see anything, so I was a little concerned we wouldn't get many people here, but it's good to see all of you and to provide the input. We've got the technology here to document your ideas, so we're not just going to have a conversation and forget what we talked about. We are going to consider the top 3, top 5, look at how we're going to finance the project. As Councilman Johnson said, there's a multitude of opportunities we have in town right now. The downtown redevelopment we're really excited about because we're really close to going out for bid on our downtown. And the Kennedy Avenue project, after decades, that's finally going to happen. And then I was looking at the Ileana timeline from the time we purchased the property, which was June 30th of 2016. It's time to make a decision, and it's time to move. Yeah, at one point to consider a business park, but we held a session specifically about that, and we heard you. Not one person wanted a business park. So we pivoted from that idea and said, let's provide recreation, let's provide nice green space. Maybe the frontage property on 30 could be, restaurants. No strip malls. That's not happening. I'll tell you that that's definitely not going to happen. We have enough retail in town, but I do think, there's feedback I received from residents who live on that side of town and further east. They'd like to see a couple of restaurants there. Rather than coming over to the 31 corridor. It would be nice to have a couple of nice places very close to where you live to make it, most convenient. The band shell is, something that I think would be a great multi-use facility. The Village of Lansing just built a beautiful complex. Make see that just in terms of getting ideas of structure, if that's indeed something that we do. The council, park board, staff, we filled out this same survey that as all of you filled out. And so I'm anxious to kind of see those results, and then your results tonight really, I think, are most important. So thank you. I'm anxious to, after your comments, I took notes from everyone who spoke, but anxious to see the data from tonight separate from our data, and just kind of see if they're similar or not. But again, thank you for being here.
I agree. I would like to thank everyone for coming tonight. I think we as a town council and a park board, we're stuck in not moving forward ourselves, wanting to make the right decisions for the town. Having you all come today, if you chose to speak or if you even filled out the survey, just gives us more as we try to move forward. Many of us were even saying we've got to do something, but we needed to know what you are all thinking right now. So I appreciate all this. I think we're all taking notes so we could digest it and move on from here. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Ram. Yes, thank you very much. And by the way, if anyone hasn't filled out the survey, please do. And if you don't want to do it on a computer, it does have hard copies back there if you want to just fill it out with a hard copy. So we'd like to get as many of you, if not all of your opinion on your choices. But I thank you very much for coming out. And like Caleb and Kevin said, we purchased the property back in 2016, and not knowing exactly what we were going to do, we looked at several different things. Then, of course, we went through the pandemic, which kind of stalled everything for a few years, and now we're back at it. We made a commitment to bring recreation, and there's great ideas up there. The multi-purpose fields, the multi-purpose indoor, outdoor, the addition to more fields, baseball field, we looked at the baseball, bringing the baseball field in, and the baseball league in, which would be kind of exciting to have our own team there on that. But there's several different things up there. Sports complex is there. There's a lot of really good amenities there that we can spread out among the land with leaving a lot of green space also, because it is important on the walking trail. We have a really nice walking trail around Roman Park, as you all know, and we would want to continue that around that property also. So the greenery, the walking trails I'm sure will be a big part of it. And we appreciate all of you that filled out the survey, and we'll take a close look at it. And the town council and the park board will be working together to try to move forward. Thank you very much.
Of course, I'd like to thank everybody also for coming out tonight. I don't want to rehash what has already been set up here, but there were a lot of good ideas tonight. We're glad to see you come out. This town is your town. It belongs to you, and that's why we had this meeting, so that we can listen to the opinions, gather information, and make the right decisions, because really, this is probably the last, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, the last biggest piece of property that we will probably develop in Schererville.
Yep.
And since we are dedicating it to recreation for the community, we definitely want to do it right and get a hold of, the people, look at the people in Valparaiso who did the development there and the development in Crown Point. And I think that the next step is probably to sit down and talk about it, and then the next step is to get a couple of these engineer firms in to see what their ideas are, and then bring it back to you folks. So there will probably be more meetings involving the public before we really do any major moves here. So thank you again, folks. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Rob.
If anybody didn't comment but wants to comment and maybe wants to email, that would be all right as well. Obviously, shoot us an email, and then we can try and incorporate your thoughts or ideas. Some folks don't want to get up in the front of the public. That's welcome as well.
Mr. Troxel, did you have any comment?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, a lot of great ideas out there regarding the use of that property. With my head as clerk treasurer, obviously as mentioned a few times here, is what's it going to cost? It's not too. We can always bond out for building something, but the operation of these things are not something you can bond out for. So my concern would be, as we look at this, make sure that we do a full study on this, that we know exactly what we're getting into. And a lot of times, you taxpayers will actually, pay their property taxes for the construction of this for 20 years. But, is the park department going to run these? Are we leasing these facilities out else to rent and so forth? There'll be probably costs to the residents for utilizing these facilities by paying something if we're leasing out. So there's a lot of things to discuss and see how we're going to handle the operation of it and what it would cost. I did have a question. Were the survey going to be put out to everybody other than the residents here in this room? I know we have 50 people that did the survey, but didn't know how we're going to get it out to everywhere else if we're looking for some of the other that couldn't make it here this evening.
We could, if we could find a way to do it, we would do it. We did do a survey back a few years back, Survey Monkey, and we get comments from all over the world. So we had no idea.
Sure.
I mean, they were coming from several different countries, and the number one thing was the racetrack.
Sure.
So it's
So
a
the
tough,
feedback-
it's a tough thing to do.
Feedback we got from Singapore. Was the link on our website at that point? I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Not sure.
We also discussed, Mike, I know staff and I, we discussed about possibly putting that survey in the water bill. And send it, at least we know that would go to all Schererville residents, you know.
It does go outside Schererville residents
it
because
does.
we have water utility users outside of that.
Right.
So most of those do live close to the park also.
Right, right. So that would be a way we could do that.
Yep.
As you know, you get a lot of different mailings in your water bill, like the people receive them at home, and would add that to the water bill to get more people's opinion. So, park board members, any comments?
No, it's been said already. Thanks for all the input. The park board has been discussing this for quite some time and struggling with it a little bit. But one of my thoughts is that as we plan this development and move forward, I think that it wouldn't be a bad idea to look at incorporating the existing property and land at Gorman Park to see how we can add to the green spaces or facilities that might be useful for the residents. There's quite a bit of green space there, maybe moving the soccer fields, whatever. But I think that needs to be part of the plan. But again, thanks for everybody's input. Very helpful.
I want to second what everyone has said. Thanks for all the feedback. It's very helpful to us. Because, part of the problem with this project is, and one of the reasons why it's taken so long, is it's a complete blank slate. You know, respectfully, I grew up in racing. My dad raced cars my entire young life. I actually bought the house close to the track because I loved hearing the sound. I was sad when it closed down. It is also not financially practical for the town to run a racetrack. The track was losing money. It's one of the reasons that we were able to buy it. So as much as I would love to see that, I also respect the idea that this beautiful blank canvas that we can do what we want with. And so that's one of the reasons why this has gone so slowly, is we want to do it right, and we want to do it in a way that's meaningful to all of you and that is a benefit to the citizens of Schererville. And so we take that really seriously, and we want to do it in a fiscally responsible way as well. The three takeaways that I walked away with listening to all of you talk is we need something that allows people to recreate indoors. That's really, really important, and I agree with that. We don't have that in Schererville, and I think we should. We need lots of green space and places for people to recreate outdoors, whether it's sports or independent recreation like walking or biking, things like that. We need to add to that space because that's really important to you guys. And then lastly, maintaining the heritage of the site. So incorporating the racetrack in some way, so that whether it's in the name or in the design, so that we honor the memory of what was there. Those are the three things that I heard from all of you, and those are the things that I'm going to be leveraging as we go forward with this project. So thank you very much.
Just to kind of echo what everybody else said, thank you everybody for coming out tonight and providing your input. I look forward to analyzing everybody's comments from tonight, the results of the survey, and putting that all together, discussing with the town council and the parks board, and making the best decision for the residents and for the town. Thank you.
Staff members, Mr. Gorman, any further comment?
I have nothing. I just wanted to, like Mr. Johnson said, if you guys have any comments that you didn't get to talk about tonight, you can always email us at the general mailbox on our website, or one of the councilmen, or any of the staff members. Thank you.
Mr. Novosich, our park superintendent.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Great comment. Really exciting opportunity for the town and the whole community. To reiterate Mike's point, I'm always concerned with the operations, maintenance. Always joke that take a picture when it's built, because that's the best it's ever going to look. How do we keep a level of standard that we want to see in our parks, in our facilities, keep them safe, attractive, and this is a much bigger animal, if you want to say, than what we have currently in the system. We really don't have anything that compares to it, maybe Gorman Park and the ball fields, but it's a great opportunity, but it comes with great challenges, and I think one that the gentleman said, it is really going to be a hard project to really
look at all the facets of it and say, what do we really want to put in here, and then how do we maintain it, how do we finance it, getting down to fees, who's going to use it. There's really a lot to consider, and I appreciate the council and the park board for taking the time to really get the citizens involved. I think it's crucial that we keep the survey open and get as much input from the community as possible, because I believe, as Rob said, this is your town, so the town is made up of what, almost 30,000 people. So we need as much as that 30,000 input into this process. And I think if that's the case, we'll have a clear picture of what should be developed. And that's all. So, thanks.
Any other park employees, any other comments? No comments?
Mr. President, should we see if we have any comments on Facebook?
The only comment I have from Facebook is Anthony Spagnola says that he thinks that we have enough baseball parks and he'd like to see the space used for something else.
That's it? Okay, thank you.
I do have one letter that was sent to us today. That he couldn't make it today, and he is a resident of Schererville for 20 years, a lifelong resident of Lake County, and a neighbor of the former Ileana Speedway. I'm delighted to hear that the property will be master planned as recreation use. Schererville has been a great place to call home, and providing residents additional recreation opportunities will be a great addition to the town. I understand that there's a meeting tonight, and I'm going to make every effort I can to make it, but he ended up not being able to make it. As the town considers the master plan of that parcel, I'd like to pass along a vision that I feel could be an absolutely wonderful component of the overall plan. My niece loves to play baseball. Certain challenges likely hinder her ability to play. However, to participate in the baseball league at the Joe Nuxel Miracle League fields in Fairfield, Ohio, the Joe Nuxel Reds Hall of Fame pitcher and announcer had a passion to allow every child or adult with every challenge should get a chance to play baseball. This passion became a reality with the construction of the Joe Nuxel Miracle League fields. I often visit to watch my niece participate, and it's truly a wonderful experience. This passion was also realized in Pennsylvania with the creation of the Miracle League fields there also. The mayor, former Major League first baseman, brought this league to the Fairfield last year for the Miracle League World Series, and it was an absolutely incredible experience. I would like to ask the council to consider 2 Miracle League fields into the master plan of the park. If this is something the council would consider, I would like to volunteer my time to help start finding ways to fund the construction of facilities. I think you will find others that will share the same vision. With some effort, we could most likely build these fields and limited resources from the town. I see this vision working well in Schererville, and I think together we can be great. Please take a minute to, and they sent us an email to look at some of the other fields like this around the country. And please, thank you for the consideration, Jeff Yatsko. So I appreciate him sending that letter to us. At this time, I'll take any questions from the audience. Do you have any questions? Yes. Yeah, please step up to the mic, yeah.
Cindy Iman again, 45 Capri Drive. Is there wetlands in this piece of parcel? Because I thought they said in the last meeting there were wetlands. Okay, is that something that has to be considered when there are regulations around it and everything? Okay. Okay.
You can kind of see the space. It looks like a little pond, and then there's a little bit of an area around it that's kind of, I don't know.
Kind of in the lower corner there?
Yeah, that area there is all kind of considered wetland there.
So that could possibly be incorporated as part of the open you know,
It would
open
have to
areas
be
or,
likely,
okay.
Yeah, it would have to be part of that open green space.
Okay, thank you, that was it.
There was another question in the back.
Concierge somewhere on Autumn Drive. Like Griffith, every Friday they have a big food truck thing and concerts. I just wonder, how do they fund this in order to pay for the bands and stuff? Every Thursday, Valparaiso has a great band show, has bands out there. And, you know, Lake County, has, in wintertime, they have an ice skating arena out there. I think Crown Point has one too. I just wonder who's paying for this? Is it the citizens paying for it because it's open to everybody? Or do they sort of fund themselves by selling, you know, places to the food trucks and stuff like that, enough to pay for the bands? And like Wicker Park, they charge you $5, I think, to come in and see the concerts. They have great bands there. They have people selling food there. They got alcohol. It's over 21. You know, just different things that all the different towns are doing that are successful. I'd like to see how they do it and if we'd be able to do it too. Griffith is a big park, and we'd be able to outnumber them very easily and come up with new ideas too, because, you know, things get stale after a while. Munster, they were getting, you know, they had such little parking at Centennial. They started charging outside residents, and Munster residents have a sticker so they can come in and park for free. You know, just a lot of different things to take into consideration. Okay.
Thank you. Councilwoman, come on up.
Sorry, just a quick question. Did we acquire any of the other land? Because there was more land that was around that area that we were talking about possibly purchasing.
Well, we mentioned earlier the 3 parcels to the left there that have the 25, 24, and 23. We have purchased those already.
Okay.
And then we're looking at, there's several other pieces of surrounding area that we're still looking at.
The area that might be to the left of the baseball fields?
Yes.
That area? Okay.
After the, no, just kind of.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, north. I'm sorry. As you're going down Rorman, it's to the left fields. But yeah, north of the baseball fields, correct.
And then we're still looking at some property on the very southeast corner too. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Matt.
Robin had another.
Yes, I didn't want to leave this out. I got an email from Denise Aducci Jagiella. She does not state her address, but she's a Schererville resident. She had an interesting thing to consider. Here is something to consider for the Ileana Racetrack open area. Obviously, we need a scaled-down version, and it's called the Lamont Quarry Forge. And when you click on it, they have a lot of interesting things there. Anybody could click on it. Indoor and outdoor activities, and she said even in the winter they have those globes that you can eat in at an eatery. So I wanted to include it in the meeting that she did send this. If anyone would like to take a look at it, I think we should send her a survey as well so she can put it on there. So thank you.
Yeah, we'll make sure she gets a survey.
Perfect.
So Greg Gilbertson again. If you'd like any information on the Forge project in Lamont, I was a trustee A to B the whole time.
Thank you.
Call me.
Any more comments? So, like we said earlier, I think Mr. Conley went through the steps. The council and the park board will get back together. We'll look at all the results that we got from the survey. We'll also talk with our staff about sending out a survey to more people. And if we do that, that will be real soon. And then we'll start working on the next idea, like Mr. Getzoff said, is to get all our ideas together and look at the top 5 and then proceed. And we'll keep the public in the know of what we're doing. And the public will naturally, once we pick a company to take a project from ground zero to it's done, the public will be involved in a lot of those steps on the way. So, any other comments? Council members?
Nope.
Thank you very much for attending. All of us will be here for a little bit if you wanted to, had any questions you wanted to ask us. And we appreciate you coming out very much. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.